Meghan Markle and her sidekick Harry have let it be known that they found it offensive when actress Justine Bateman labelled them disaster tourists after their photo op visit to the smouldering ruins of fire-ravaged Los Angeles. The gruesome twosome's favourite gossip column, the New York Post's famous Page 6, reported that the Sussexes were dismayed by the very suggestion they were exploiting LA's tragedy for their own publicity purposes. Nice try, Your Majesties, but a great many residents of the City of Angels were left asking what the hell you thought you were doing, theatrically hugging victims and traipsing through the embers of homes destroyed by the inferno. How did this regal tour of the wreckage help anyone, except perhaps a pair of opportunistic grifters desperate to look caring and sharing for the cameras? Prior to their tragedy vulture antics, the tone-deaf Duke and Duchess issued an unasked-for statement urging Californians to offer those who had lost their homes a place to stay, swiftly followed by what was described as the breaking news that they'd thrown open the doors of their massive Montecito mansion to friends and loved ones affected by the catastrophe that wiped out thousands of buildings and annihilated entire neighbourhoods. The death toll stands at 25 and rising. Perhaps Meghan and Harry will list and name those they have given refuge to, but my guess is they won't. Amid the escalating carnage, the domestic goddess Duchess announced that she was postponing the release of her uneagerly awaited Netflix cooking show With Love, Meghan, because under the circumstances it would be inappropriate. So I suppose we should thank God for small mercies. In fairness, I actually believe that was the right decision. Nevertheless, trumpeting the headline-hitting delay came across like a shameless bid to get her 8-part series talked about. Is it just me, or, like all the Hollywood superstars who sensibly steered clear, wouldn't it have been preferable if Ms. Markle and Ginger Nuts had just stayed away? Shouldn't they have wound their necks in, not made the 200-mile journey to the burning metropolis, and somehow maintained a shred of dignity? Is it just me, or was the Sussexes' day trip to tragedy all a bit tawdry? You decide. Meanwhile, still with Harry, ahead of the petulant prince's latest solo return to Britain, he was reported to have secured only limited police protection, as opposed to the full-scale armed cop guard he demands but does not warrant. Obsessively, the prince is spending a fortune suing the British government in a forlorn attempt to be granted First Division frontline royal status. But how can he be a frontline royal when he lives in a foreign country more than 5,000 miles away? Why should UK taxpayers fork out for the demanding Duke when he does no work for the nation he deserted? Also, as has become something of a tradition when he graces Britain with his esteemed presence, Harry has rebuffed the King's kindness. When Charles offered his son a suite at Buckingham Palace, he was promptly turned down. Rude and typical. But as we march into 2025, what lies ahead for Team Sussex? After it finally hits the screen in March, will Meg's show be the smash hit she dreams of? Frankly, it's unlikely, unless the viewing public suddenly yearns to know how to freeze edible flowers into ice cubes, or how to liven up hummus by stirring in a spot of olive oil, or how to bake cakes that, although not perfect, are certainly joyful. Vital stuff. Meanwhile, will Ms. Markle ever get her troubled lifestyle site American Riviera orchard off the ground? Don't bet the farm on it. And as for hapless Harry, a directionless English aristocrat adrift on the Californian West Coast, what's he going to do? Your guess is as good as mine. Answers on a postcard, please. Well, Samara, let's deal with the disaster tourists, the tragedy vultures, the grief grifters first. The people of LA, and I know a lot of them, they were appalled by this. It looked like opportunist photo opportunity grifting by both of them, that they went there to get filmed. She's actually gone back. She's gone back again, this time with a load of bags, you know. Oh, I've got clothes, I've got supplies, you know. And, you know, of course she gets out of her car in the car park. She's caught on film.
I know.
Every single time. The word is they were filmed by Netflix. You know, this is just disgusting, I think.
Yeah, you know it's bad when even Tinseltown turns on you. I mean, it's literally like no one is standing for their trauma tourism. I'm over it. Honestly, it's just ridiculous. Like, there was a video that was also posted that was not filmed by Netflix, which was her walking past a disabled veteran.
And not even looking.
At him. You know why? Oh, yeah, because the cameras weren't on. It actually makes me think of a simpler time when they pretended that they were going to move to Canada because they were in search of privacy, and they went and lived on this sort of lake house, and we thought, oh, this is going to be their life now. Yeah, it kind of makes sense, you know, they want to be out of the press. No, they always wanted to live in LA, and they always wanted to be 200 kilometres, because that's how far they drove, to get to these photo opportunities that would serve them perfectly for their Netflix specials.
200 miles. It's America.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry. Conversion.
Sod all that foreign stuff.
Yes,
miles.
American Kev. But yeah, I have absolutely no sympathy for them, and it's pathetic that she would use this to basically, in my opinion, actually promote her new cooking show. Because the fact that it got 100,000 dislikes, which we spoke about last week, actually shows me that she's just trying to, you know, keep a bit of time to make a build-up for when it's actually going to release. So, yeah, it's very, very cheeky behaviour on her part, but I don't expect anything
And also,
more.
I was noting, it was supposed to come out like Wednesday, the 15th of January, kind of this week, if you're watching it this week, but you might be watching it next week. You know what I'm saying anyway, right about now. It's been delayed, postponed till March the 4th. Now, I'm thinking plenty of time to re-edit. After the way that was greeted, that trailer was greeted, I think Netflix are thinking maybe we need to kind of redirect, reposition. But certainly, I agree with her, because we criticised her last week for releasing that trailer one day after the terrorist horror in New Orleans and Las Vegas. So that was bad timing. So I can't really have a go at her for not releasing her light and trite show amid the horror of the LA carnage. So, yeah, I agree with that decision. But I can't help feeling that announcement, I'm delaying my show, you know, it gets the show talked about. So it just looked to me as if they were cashing in on LA's tragedy for their own publicity purposes. And certainly loads and loads, I know personally, loads of people in LA did not appreciate their presence, especially the famous actress Justine Bateman, who's really been going for them, just saying. And Kelly Osbourne now has also. Let's have a look at Kelly. I mean, she's off now.
Is it just me being my normal overthinking, cynical self? Or is it really disturbing to see all of these celebrities using other people's pain and suffering as a photo op to say, look, I'm helping, I'm doing this, I'm doing that? I don't believe you help so that you can get attention for helping. I believe you just help because you want to. I'm so confused. I think it's so wrong. No one asked you to come out and give hugs.
Well said, Kelly. But the point is, she says celebrities. I've made this point before. Hollywood, Los Angeles, is a city full of much bigger stars, much bigger celebrities than Harry and Meghan will ever be. But why did they not go down to see the victims, to look caring and sharing? Because they knew it would be inappropriate.
They knew that would come across as it is, which is crass and ghoulish,
exactly.
Frankly.
Mawkish.
Yes, but I guess the question you have to ask, and they should be asking themselves, is what does this add to the situation insofar as us turning up and giving it the fake hugs and the fake handshakes and the fake kisses and so on? I don't think there are any celebrities or others, any other, so-called ordinary members of LA that were sitting there thinking, if only Harry and Meghan would turn up. However, I have to say, on the other hand, do we think to an extent maybe Harry and Meghan are damned if they do, damned if they don't?
I wouldn't damn them if they don't. By the way, when Russell's saying this, we're trying to kind of channel Simon London a little bit. So what Simon would be saying, they're just trying to help, leave them alone, you're so horrible.
Do you know what it is for me? It's a rare slither of balance.
Russell doesn't really think this.
I'm just saying.
I mean, I don't mind us all agreeing on this one because you're right. I viscerally watched that. This hugging, everything can be cured by a Meghan hug. Do me a favour. I just watched it, and like Kelly Osbourne, like Justine Bateman, and I think like the three of us, I just viscerally thought, this is wrong.
Yeah.
They're cashing in here.
But to me, the test is, if the Netflix cameras were there, that then becomes the absolute guarantee that this was self-publicity, crass and ghoulish. If the Netflix cameras weren't there, maybe. I'm just suggesting some might give them the benefit of the doubt. No. But if the Netflix thing is the cameras were there filming it to then go on a later episode of something or a trailer, which then explains why they've kicked the Love Meghan thing down the road, then that is absolutely unforgivable.
Yeah. I think I've been thinking about that show, With Love Meghan. What she'd love to call it better would be Love Meghan. Let's all love Meghan. Now, whether or not, Samara, as Russell points out, I've heard tell that it was a Netflix camera crew. In fairness to Netflix, I think even they might spot that might not be the best thing to do. However, the point is, there was a camera crew. They were caught on camera. If Netflix used that as part of the publicity for With Love Meghan, they made a big mistake.
Don't be fooled by anything. They are crisis voyeurs and they want to be that way. Honestly, it's ridiculous that anyone wants to fall for the fact that Meghan would have done this on her own if the cameras had not been there. Yeah. Now, we've seen that she's crawled out of her Montecito mansion yet again, come out today, and she's got her skinny jeans on and her little baseball cap and her bags full of makeup. Apparently, she's donated a bunch of makeup. Yeah, that's just what LA needs.
Emergency cosmetics. That's what LA needs.
Thank you.
So
eyeliner.
They need water, clothes and houses, not makeup.
No,
surely.
Someone took a photo of a bunch of spongy things that she's donated.
I mean, that was very theatrical, very studied, very filmic, to be filmed carrying all those big bags of supplies. You can't avoid it. I mean, it's just that everything those two do, when they try to do alleged selfless acts of charity, there's always a camera handy, isn't there?
But I think the other problem is they have form, and they have such form when it comes to everything they've done in the past, which is, let us come along to Prince Philip's funeral, knowing that there probably will be a Netflix camera crew with them, for instance. Whenever there's been interaction, in the run-up to Harry's book, Spare Part, whatever it was, it was then evident that, his last 3 or 4 visits to Britain and to the royal family were to glean information so that he could put it into the book. So they are a contrived couple. Yeah. I mean, they engineer these things almost so that they know that the end game is, is that a wrap? Did we get that in the can? Yeah. And almost their entire existence, I think, for the last 6 or 7 years has been very much, this is doing stuff so that it becomes something that can be put on the telly.
Yeah, and as I say, I've got a lot of, as I bore the audience with this every week, but I lived there for 10 years, right? I have a lot of friends who are still there, and I know the mood in LA. They're disgusted by the Sussexes. So, I think they've made a big mistake here. Anyway, time for a bad ad.
Well, you can take me and my turban to Kathmandu. Chew my chapati, eat my vindaloo. But when I see you walk, 'cause I'm my fingers and thumbs, so get your guns off my papa-dums, yeah. Well, go ahead, punk a waller, make 'em my day. 2 tasty flavors will blow you away. They rattle and roll all over your tongue, so get your guns off my papa-dums.
Well, we usually have a laugh at the expense of American adverts and, of course, your great country, Australia. You should see their adverts. Hopefully you got one later on.
I'm half-half. I'm half Indian. Yeah, I can take that.
Well, that's a British advert, so we're very proud of that bit of racism. What do you think, Russell?
Well, I'm kind of overwhelmed. I didn't quite expect some bad ads in the middle of this. That was so crass, it's good.
Yeah.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of that horrendous, and apologies to those that aren't watching from Britain. People in Britain will remember this, the really hideous Ferrero Rocher advert, which looked like it had been made and was shot probably in the 1970s, where they walk over with a tray of these things, you know, blah, blah, blah. So it reminded me of that, and I think it could be that bad that actually it might sell some popcorn.
It's Walker's Crisps. At least it hasn't got Gary Lineker on it, so I'm all for that Indian Elvis there. Let's go to some real ads. What just happened?
He's mad as hell. It's Kevin O'Sullivan.
Welcome back to part 2 of What Just Happened. This, of course, is the moment where we play the big moment. That is the big story of the week that we think is perhaps the key news event that is worth discussing. And this week, of course, it surrounds the Los Angeles fires. And basically, let's talk about the mayor of Los Angeles, who had this brilliant response when questioned by a TV crew. Watch this.
Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today?
Can you back up? I appreciate it.
Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today?
That's Karen Bass, former social worker, you won't be surprised to hear. I mean, you know, it strikes me she might be a bit dumb, but she's obviously literally dumb. She can't talk.
Well, she's out of her depth, isn't she? And she's continued to be, I think, ever since this kicked off. And of course, that was then filmed. That was, I think, at an airport where she was on her way back, having been away, knowing and despite the fact that LA was burning.
Yeah, I'll tell you where she was as well, Samara. She was in Ghana.
Yeah, why the hell was she there?
Well, it was a taxpayer-funded trip, fact-finding trip to Africa. While she's over in Ghana wasting public money.
They've got a lack of water too.
Her city is on fire, is being destroyed by fire. And you cannot... I'm personally very devastated about what's happened to LA. I love that place. Half of it has been destroyed. The Pacific Palisades, where all the big stars like Tom Hanks, Steven Spielberg, you name them, they live there. That is basically gone. It's gone. And that's the mayor. Nothing to say. I mean, she is not fit for purpose, is she?
No, she's not, and she should be fired on the basis of that video alone. That shows that she's incompetent. I mean, she's literally coming straight off the plane, and the LA people wanted a response, a bit of leadership, so to speak, from this woman, and she couldn't provide it. And I think this is what happens when you kind of hire people not based on merit, but based on maybe other things that they can see. And I think it's really shown that she's completely incapable of being mayor of Los Angeles. People need strong conviction right now, and she is lacking that completely. And look at the LAFD. I mean, you've been mentioning a lot this week about who's in charge there.
Well, we're going to do that. We'll do that in a second. The Los Angeles Fire Department, Russell, you've heard about defunding the police. Well, Karen Bass and her mob, Democrats, of course, these dozy Democrats have ruined cities all over America. But in California, I mean, they've absolutely wrecked them. The beautiful city of San Francisco is just a mess, full of junkies, dangerous, awful, destroyed by hopeless Democrat wokery and inefficiency. LA the same. She took $49 million away from the fire department. Therefore, it felt it was unable to... It was ill-equipped to deal with this inferno.
As soon as those fires started raging, of course, there are multiple fires. There's not just one fire. There are, now dozens of them that have been ignited across Los Angeles, and as you say, devastating. Immediately, the woke left in the US and the UK started screaming, climate change. It's climate change. Well, I can tell you it's not, on the basis that it's clearly, provably, on the basis that people have been arrested for it, arson. Arson and climate change have got nothing to do with each other at all. However, accentuated, accelerated, enabled by the Democrat leadership of that state and that city. So not just Karen Bass, not just, is it Kristen, who's the LA Fire Department chief, which you're going to come to, but also let's just talk about Gavin Newsom for a second.
Gormless Gavin.
The
U-Haul governor of California.
So not only is he responsible for this, because he was the one that diverted water away from the city of Los Angeles into the Pacific Ocean because he wanted to save some floppy fish. He has now called for an inquiry into what happened when he is the man in charge of what happened.
Yeah, well, the good thing to know here, if there's anything good to come out of this horror, in Los Angeles. It is that gormless Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, they call him the U-Haul governor because everybody just packs up all their possessions into U-Haul trailers and leaves California.
Unless they're illegal immigrants.
Yeah, he now will never be president. He loves the idea of being president. He never will be because he's screwed up. Karen Bass, the mayor, is screwed up. And let's talk about the fire department. Let's talk about wokery, the wokery that is destroying these Democrat cities. Now, I'm not going to have a go at their ability. I'm sure they put the most qualified for their jobs. But the three most senior officers running the Los Angeles Fire Department are all lesbians. All three of them are lesbians. And by the way, oddly, all three of them are called Christina. So I don't know what that's about, but that's another element to this. So, I'm sure they're good at their jobs and all that, but we know what's going on there. Heterosexual white males need not apply because it's not woke. Let's have a listen to, this is Assistant Chief Christine Larson talking about, she was slammed for being a diversity hire, which of course she was, but here she is.
You want to see somebody that responds to your house, your emergency, whether it's a medical call or a fire call, that looks like you. It gives that person a little bit more ease, knowing that somebody might understand their situation better. Is she strong enough to do this? Or you couldn't carry my husband out of a fire, which my response is, he got himself in the wrong place if I have to carry him out of a fire.
Right, I used to live in Los Angeles. You're talking about, so my house is on fire. You say, oh, people want people who look like them to come and fight the fire. Well, you, Christine, you don't look like me.
Wait, you don't look like a chubby black lesbian?
What a load of crap anyway. If my house is on fire, I just want expert firefighter. I don't care what they look like.
No one cares what the firefighter that saves them and their kids from a burning building looks like. And I can go one further. The head lesbian fire chief of Los Angeles.
Christina 1.
Christina number 1. Head lesbian Christina number 1.
Christina 1, Christina 2 and Christina 3.
She's on record as saying, my absolute priority
is diversity.
Is it her
or is that?
No, that's
number
Christina
1.
2.
No, that's Christina 3.
No,
that's equality.
Whatever. Regardless, the lesbian conclave.
It's not the leader.
The lesbian conclave.
Don't use the word conclave when you're talking about lesbians.
All right, the gaggle of lesbians. What are they? What is a herd of lesbians? I don't know. Anyway, the pride of lesbians.
That is not the plural, Flo. No, I apologise.
It must be a pride of lesbians, right? So the pride of lesbians that run the LA Fire Department, they are on record in unison as saying that their number one priority for Los Angeles is diversity, equity and inclusion. Can I just suggest...
It's putting out fires.
Yes, getting water to fires, preventing fires and putting fires out.
They actually did say that. I think it was the equality Christina. I think she's Christina 3. So Christina 1 is the chief. She gets $499,000 a year. Christina 2 is the deputy chief. She gets about, I think it's 300. No. Christina 2 is deputy only gets about 300,000. But Christina 3 equality, she gets about 400,000.
Well, she gets more because
she gets more.
I want to be fair to Christina.
Which one?
Which one? Christina 1 or Christina 2 or Christina 3?
To Christina 1. I want to be very fair to her.
She gets $500,000. That's right.
Yes, she actually came out and slammed Karen Bass on Fox News and other
Christina
channels.
1.
Threw her under the bus.
I'm a big fan of her because she came out and said, hey, you took millions of dollars away from my fire department. We couldn't do our job properly. What the heck is wrong
Samara,
with you?
she threw her under the bus because Gavin Newsom, Barr and the Christians, the Christinas, all started pointing the finger at each other.
No, well, yes, but you know where a lot of that 18 million went? I did a bit of digging. It went into helping the homeless and Skid Row, which is lovely. And that shows that Gavin
paying
Newsom...
for Karen Bass's trip to Ghana.
And Ghana,
and also
exactly.
building small homes for the homeless from Gavin Newsom's budget, which he hasn't actually done at all yet. He's taken the money.
Well, that's what I mean. It's we need to take a holistic look at the dumpster fire that has become Los Angeles and
under
say,
the Democrats.
Sorry, pun intended, and say, look, there's something really bad going on here. And I said this on a couple of other shows. It's going to become a swing state in 2020.
And going back to your point about climate change, Russell, as I say, not to labour the point, but I lived there every year without fire. without fail, there was fire, not without fire. Every year, without fail, there are these wildfires, and sometimes they're extremely destructive. When I was there, Malibu got destroyed. Massive story, massive story. We've never seen anything on this scale before. So it's not climate change. The difference between the former fires and these fires was that this time, because of the winds, the direction of the winds, these fires came straight through the middle of the city. And therefore, the scale of the destruction was much bigger than ever before. Nothing to do with climate change. They did have a very dry summer, but hey-ho, they often have dry summers in LA.
But the 17 million gallon water reservoir in the middle of the LA hills was empty.
No.
All of the gravity tanks that pushed the water up the hill for fire prevention were empty. All of the bush and the flammable stuff across all the public land hadn't been cleared. That is negligence on the part of the administration, which is run by the Democrats.
Well, there were three reservoirs that were saved because they wanted Native Americans to be able to fish there, and as you mentioned,
to be able to go skateboarding on the dry.
Much more important than losing 10,000 buildings.
So I think this is a massive wake-up call for America to say, hey, let's start prioritising.
And I'll tell you who's going to wake America up is Donald Trump. Donald Trump's already massively on the warpath. And if you look it up, the lefties, the Democrats, are already saying, oh, all these right-wingers saying that DEI, diversity, is the cause of this. They're so wrong. No, we're right. And your diversity and your inclusivity and your wokery is going to be chucked onto a bonfire by Donald Trump. Watch that burn. Time for another bad ad.
7 hot dinners every single week. It's hard to keep them happy. Just listen. What a cheek.
Bored with beef.
Cheese stuffed with chicken. Fed up with fish.
Okay, I got the message. Enough of all this talk. Pep up, everybody. Tonight I'm serving pork.
Put new-fashioned pork on your weekly menu. It's trimmed to fat, packed with protein and simple to prepare.
Pep them up with pork. Pork.
Filmed in your house.
The amount of times I've told you guys I don't eat meat. I've never had meat before.
I know.
I grew up in the hippie household. We didn't have this.
Yeah, but look, now that you've seen that delicious-looking pork, you wouldn't mind giving that a go.
Yeah, but you're tempted.
Yeah, it's basically like when pork started to first come to Australia, they probably ran those
So that's
ads.
an Aussie ad, right?
Yes, Australia.
Yeah,
we usually trawl through America and Australia for our funny ads.
But from when? 1978?
Yeah.
I mean,
that was actually like last week they filmed that. Sorry.
They do adverts in Australia. Coming next week to Australia. Electricity. Just a joke, folks.
So, yeah, no disrespect to Australians, but are you a little bit behind the times from a media perspective? I mean, that literally looks like it was shot in the 70s.
It probably is an old ad. It's not right now.
Isn't it? Isn't it? I don't know.
It was the 1990s. It still should have been a little bit.
Crazy.
It should have been a bit more advanced, perhaps.
Still
Time
dated.
for some real ads. What just happened?
He's mad as hell. It's Kevin O'Sullivan.
Welcome back, part 3 of the second edition of What Just Happened of 2025. And this is the section that we snappily call, it's full of alliteration, Samara's Questions. We've got to think of a better name.
I know. Someone a bit more notable, please.
Samara's Questions. That's such crap. Anyway, what are the questions, Samara?
Look, Karla Sofía Gascón has made history as the first transgender actress to be nominated for Best Actress BAFTA. What do you think? Kevin, I'll hand this to you. I mean, I'm sure you've got feelings.
Well, it's a bloke, and this is a bloke in a dress who has been nominated for Best Actress in the British BAFTA Awards. He stars in something called Amelia Perez on Netflix, actually plays a trans woman. So in some sense, he's sort of playing himself to an extent, or at least. So I can understand that. I don't mind a trans woman being cast as a trans woman. But being nominated as Best Actress, what about the real women, biological women? You know, this once again, and by the way, this person will win. There's no doubt about that. What about the biological women who should be winning Best Actress? It's just rubbish, isn't it?
You can
isn't
hear...
Isn't it everybody? Aren't you? Aren't you just sick of this absolute nonsense?
Well, it's just, obviously, look, it's accelerated virtue signaling, isn't it? You can almost hear right now the ripples of applause from the Hollywood elite thinking what a wonderful, beautiful thing this is. But as you say, Kev, it isn't when you're a female actress, an actual female actress, that has been overlooked as a consequence of a man in a dress getting the award that perhaps you should have done. So the likes of, actually, Nicole Kidman and Sigourney Weaver and whoever else, Ariana Grande, who are, I think, last time I checked, real women, they should be up in bloody arms about this.
Yeah, well, they won't be because of the wokery that's required of the acting profession. But as I say, it's sexist. What about, biological women in the BAFTA Awards are now going to have to compete against a bloke? That's ridiculous.
I don't know.
And that bloke will win, definitely. So they'll go, oh, aren't we modern?
Well, let's be honest, it won't be on merit, will it? It'll be because it ticks a DEI
Make no
box.
mistake. What's his name again?
Karla Sofía Gascón.
Karla Sofía, what?
So hang on, two female names.
It looks like it's a made-up name.
What's his name again?
Karla Sofía Gascón.
Karla Sofía Gascón. Now, if you're a bloke and you decide you want to wear a dress and you want to pretend you're a woman, you could choose any name you like. Yeah. And he came up with Karla Sofía Gascón.
What's his real name? Brian Jones.
Well, that's exactly what it is, Kev. You're bang on, actually, because
Bert Smith.
It sounds like a drag name, and that's because it is a drag name. She's cosplaying a woman. She's just basically gone and put some fake nails on and said, "Oh yeah, I'm a woman now." It's actually ridiculous. He has no qualifications to actually be in the Best Actress category. And it's really funny how we never see the shoe on the other foot. We never see a female in a male category ever in the BAFTAs or the Oscars or the Golden Globes. We absolutely never see that.
I think, to be fair, it's only a matter of time. It probably will happen. They love all this stuff. And it's just ridiculous. I think people are just sick of it. My view on trans people, Russell, it's great. Do whatever you like. If it makes you happy, live your life in the way that makes you content. And nobody should get in the way of that. Good for you. But don't tell me that biologically you're the gender you pretend to be when you're not. Scientifically, that's not true. If I met Sophia, I'd probably say she, her, and all that, because I don't want to upset her. But, if I want to, what you call misgender, if I want to say you're a bloke in a dress, then I should be able to. And frankly, I probably will, to be honest.
Well, she's not fooling anyone.
We've had enough of it, haven't we?
No, we have, and I'm the same as you. I think, look, whatever you want to identify as, in whatever world you live in, that's fine. And look, I think that's a matter for that individual. The problem comes when it becomes an imposition on anybody else. Particularly,
you misgendered me.
Either actresses, let's tell them as they are, either actresses that then get overlooked, or this nonsense pronoun thing where now you get reported to the police because you said he instead of she. That's obviously been a thing in the US. It's become an increasing thing here in the UK. In fact, in the UK, of course, we're about to have legislation which will prevent you from standing at the pub bar talking about such things in case it insults a transgender barmaid.
Well,
or man.
It's a little bit. It's a little bit worse than that. It doesn't have to be that. That's not really what it is. If you're discussing trans issues, any old barman or barmaid can say, I was offended by that conversation and sue the landlord.
Yeah.
So that represents a problem. Anyway, another question, please. In the next moment of Samara's questions.
Please. I mean, I don't even know if it's called that.
The worst name ever.
Thanks, Kev. Donald Trump.
That's not your actual name. Well, that's not very good, is it?
No, thanks. Donald Trump's inauguration takes place on Monday. What would you like to see him do first?
Say that again.
Donald Trump's inauguration.
Oh, well, I mean, I think it's already...
What's his first move?
Well, we've been discussing wokery. He's going to kill it stone dead. He's going to kill it stone dead. I want him to completely cancel all the Democrats' net zero claptrap. And by the way, he will. I want him to do what he promised. Deport millions of illegal migrants. I want him to close the southern border, like he promised, build that wall. By the way, Joe Biden was beginning to build a wall because there's a humanitarian catastrophe on the southern border. And I want him to go over to Russia and tell Putin, sort the Ukraine war out, because he's just had the Trump effect in Gaza. He said, when I become president, if there isn't some kind of peace in Gaza, all hell will break loose. So Joe Biden is saying, I got the peace deal. No, you didn't. Donald Trump got it. Donald Trump got it. So already his effect around the world is happening. I want him to be very hardline with everything he's promised in America. But I think probably the two best things I'm looking forward to are the end of wokery.
Yeah.
And the end of net zero.
Well, and closing the borders and starting deportations in a very meaningful way.
I just said that.
But also, but putting his cabinet, who obviously are going...
They're all billionaires,
well,
they're
going through their own inauguration process through Congress this week, of course, in terms of being approved.
Yeah.
That has been extremely amusing because all of them, to a man and a woman, have destroyed the Democrats that have tried to belittle them. So I suspect all of them will be approved. But the other thing I think that Donald Trump needs to do, regardless of anything relating to immigration and wokery, so I agree with you, the other thing I think that Donald's got to do is to make sure that he comes out the blocks very quickly on the economy, and he's got to cut taxes really fast.
But he'll be able to do that, Russell, because his instruction, by getting rid of net zero, energy prices and the cost of energy bills in America is already rock bottom because they're fracking. Yeah. They fracked 150 years worth of energy out of the earth. We could do that here in Britain, but apparently it will cause earthquakes in Blackpool.
But instead we buy their fracked gas.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. So they've got fracked energy already, so they got very low prices. Donald Trump's instruction to the fossil fuel industry is drill, baby, drill. Yep. Their energy prices are going to be rock bottom. The Americans will return to prosperity. There'll be much more money around, sloshing around. He'll be able to cut taxes.
Well, and the reason I think it's important to us here in Britain is that we're going to see a huge contrast between Trump's centre-right government economically and our socialist government economically.
Well, he's going to embarrass this country. Yep. We're going to look like we used to in the 60s and the 50s. Not that I was there then, folks. I'm just saying historically, the people of Britain used to look across the Atlantic and say, those guys in America, they're living the dream. They're living the dream.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't done that for a long time. I bet you under Trump, with our useless socialist idiots ruining this country, Britain, we will look across the Atlantic again and go, they're living the dream, right, Samara?
Totally. And he's got so much experience dealing with Russia. And if we just look at the deal that, honestly, in my opinion, he's brokered within Gaza and the Middle East. If he can find peace in the Middle East, he can definitely find peace within Ukraine and Russia. And that will really help us with our energy prices, because that's what's actually driving our energy prices up at the moment, is the fact that we can't get nice, cheap gas from Eastern Europe.
But I think he'll solve the Ukraine-Russia issue in days. I mean,
well, that's what he said.
That's a bold prediction.
No, I think he'll do it in days.
That's really interesting.
I think Putin and Zelensky are both looking for an excuse. They both need a door to back into.
That's a really good point.
You should just turn the tap off from Zelensky. No more money for that man.
But you've just seen it in Gaza, as you've just said. The fact that the spokesperson went over there and he would have said, look, if you don't resolve this by Monday at 12:minutes, Trump is, as he said he would do, it's going to unleash a whole world of fury on you.
Yeah.
The same thing will happen, I think, when it comes to Putin and Zelensky. But I think those two individuals are waiting for a reason, and the reason will be Trump's intervention.
Yeah, really interesting. I just think Trump is going to... I read a piece in the British Daily Telegraph today, actually, saying that there's the difference between our leader, that idiot Starmer, Keir, two-tier, free gear, never here, Keir Starmer. He's never here. He's in Ukraine at the moment, cozying up for photo ops with Zelensky.
More money too.
And Donald Trump. Donald Trump believes in sovereignty. He believes in his own people. He believes in America first. He's a patriot. We have a prime minister, Keir Starmer, who doesn't believe in borders, doesn't believe in sovereignty, believes in the kind of international brotherhood of socialist men and women and all that, is not a patriot, kind of hates this country.
Giving our land away, penalising business.
And mad wokery, net zero zealotry and so on and so forth. We're going to get poorer, colder, and this country's going to go to the dogs while Donald Trump hauls America out of the Democrat mess it's in right now and restores it to its former glory, and it's going to be a sight to see. It's time for a bad ad.
Chef from Rome to Paris would really be embarrassed. If all the world could have a chip like ours, we've got a red rooster. Yes, we've got a red rooster. You'll know with just one look, we've got the world's best chip.
Australia, your chicken is ready.
We've got a red rooster.
I've just been told that advert dates back to the 90s. I'm assuming we mean the 1890s.
Samara, how embarrassed are you right now?
Oh, I love Red Rooster. I'm such a big fan. No, Red Rooster.
Eat meat.
Yeah, but the chips are amazing. And yeah, that was my place
I love
to go.
Red Rooster. I love Red Rooster.
I'm a big fan.
And the fact that they're fried in animal fat, you're not bothered about.
No problem at all. The chips are bloody great. I love that. My mum, when I got my license, I used to always do drive-throughs at Red Rooster.
Drive-throughs?
Yeah, she found all the packages and she said, I would have preferred to found drugs in your car. This shit is so unhealthy.
They're on the other seats.
This is so unhealthy. It's full of crap. I'm like, oh God.
And are they fried in animal fat?
I'm sure.
Yeah, you go.
Sure
You've been breaking the
Russell
rules.
Brand. Yeah.
Breaking the rules.
Sorry.
Let's go to a real break. What just happened?
He's mad as hell. It's Kevin O'Sullivan.
Let's get going with some of the messages that you've been sending in. You first, Samara.
Yes. Well, Simon, interestingly, has said...
no, this is Simon London.
This is Simon Godsden.
Godsden?
He said, Kevin O'Sullivan is an ignorant idiot, a rude intellectual cretin, and there's a picture of you from some time ago.
Yeah.
So he's gone and made that screenshot.
Well, you know...
Any words, Kevin?
You know, Simon, tell me something I don't know.
Yeah, he must have actually met you, right?
I mean, yeah, and you know, I don't see what the point of that is. That's just stating the obvious. Have you got one, Russell?
Well, yeah, but they're all about Samara.
Okay,
Go for it.
Okay. Steve Chambers says, oh, my Lord, watching Samara on talkTV and, yes, this show and Plank of the Week, because you multitask.
Oh, God.
We don't talk about other shows on this.
It was one of ours.
that out.
She is, ready? She's proving that conservative women are all things bright and beautiful. There's a religious bent to this. Of all creatures great and small, and all things wise and wonderful, the Lord God made Samara Gill. You see what he did there?
Wow. Oh, my God.
He's turned a hymn into a tribute to Samara Gill.
Please send me that username.
Actually, we use the correct pronouns here. That's not a him, that's a they. Okay, Samara, what have you got?
Stephen said, and Kevin O'Sullivan to be consigned to the lunatic asylum.
Yeah, we all think that.
He's got a political asylum. He's fine.
Every night I do a show called The Political Asylum. Again, tell me something I don't know.
Self-aware king. Yeah.
There you go. You next, Russell?
Another one that's about our friend Samara, from Debbie Stubbs. I'm not sure I'm allowed to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Who the is Samara Gill?
Yeah, actually fair. I get a lot of these comments. No one,
It's a very good question.
You know what? I ask myself that question every night before I go to bed, so don't worry.
Yeah, and there's no real answer, is there?
No, there never is.
What have we got next?
Sunflower has said, I bet you that Kevin O'Sullivan has never met Prince Harry and Meghan, and that tells me a lot about Kevin.
Well, you can't make a point when you don't know whether I've met them or not. They wanted to meet... OK, I'll tell you the truth. What's the name of that person again?
Sunflower.
Well, Sunflower. Hey, I'll tell you the truth. They were desperate to meet me when they lived here, but I just said no. You know, you have to draw the line somewhere. That's a lie. I haven't met them, and nor do I want to. Russell, what have you got?
It's... about Samara again.
Oh, God.
What is this, a Samara show?
Yeah, I don't know if this is... You should be pleased to be so popular.
They're all kind of rude.
Well, this one's a bit having a go at you a bit. This is from Mama Katipunera. I think I pronounced it correctly. Katipunera.
I like that.
Samara Gill, I don't understand your bitterness. If Meghan is irrelevant, why do you waste your time thinking or talking about her so much?
Oh, my God, she gets inside my head so much.
Living rent-free.
Yeah, and any hate comments, please. You know, they actually all get to me, and I cry at night about
One of those idiots say, she's living rent-free in your head. If you ever say that, anyone, think about yourself. Take a good look at yourself. It is a threadbare, clapped-out cliche. Living rent-free in your head. Well, you know, I'll tell you why we discuss Meghan and Harry a lot. You know, journalistic secret. You know, for all their awfulness, in fact, because of their awfulness, they're what we call in journalism a good story. People are fascinated by them. I'm appalled by them, but I'm fascinated by them. So there you go, an admission. And I think so is Samara, and Russell's pretty much the same as well. What's the next one, Russell?
Samara, again, it's not particularly... It's not particularly complicated. Hang on, what I'm worried about, I won't be here presumably next week. Am I going to get a load of text?
He's not after the performance this week, no way.
But I won't be here to defend myself. Right, this is from...
Right, yeah.
That's not fair. I want the right to reply. This is a very, very long handle. A suspicious and through something. Anyway, I'm not even going to try. Whoever the hell Samara Gill is, in reply to something that we obviously put out on Twitter. Whoever the hell you are, Samara Gill.
Yeah,
who are you?
That sounds like the other one. So half or most of the people are going that you're kind of, you know, the second coming, the most amazing human who ever lived, and yet up crop these other people who go, who the is Samara Gill?
Guys, it doesn't help. I already think that. You don't need to message me about it. I'm really already having a bit of an identity crisis lately, but that's a whole other story.
Well, you're on
exactly,
here.
because who the hell are you?
But you're on here, Samara, and they're not.
Right.
So Donna has said, I listened to one episode of Kevin O'Sullivan and Kinsey Schofield. They are primarily bitching, whinging and slagging off Meghan. A continuous flow of bile and sewage sounds like two bitter, jealous, scorned women. I feel sick to my stomach.
Me and Kinsey continually bitching?
Yes.
What a dreadful accusation.
Yeah, what a mischaracterization.
That's what I do. That's why I'm here. Time for a bad ad?
Hi, I'm from Ready Hand Curtains, and I'm a desperate man. I need $120,000 within 2 weeks, so I'm going to do something that only a desperate man would do. My crushed velvet was $40 a width, now for 2 weeks, only $14.95, and I'm cutting $20 off all my weaves. Drive, ride a bike, walk, take a taxi, but come in fast. Crushed velvet only $14.95, and weaves only $29.95 at Ready Hand Curtains.
Yeah, he needs the money. He's got to pay for his drug habit, right?
You're going to say we should ask the question, why does he need the money? That's very sinister, isn't it?
Yeah, that shop is in the Dandenongs, which in other words...
Do you go there much?
That's like where all the cults
Because you wear... Is that where you get your crushed velvet outfits from?
I've had enough. Yeah, that's where all the cults exist.
So, where the cults exist, as in David Koresh cults, like UFOs are coming, we're all going to die.
Exactly. Yeah,
kill
so
ourselves.
that's where that guy is advertising.
But hang on, you're suggesting there's a whole kind of town or villages full of these things.
No,
lots of different
I'm
cults.
actually saying yes, that is a thing.
Wow.
So.
Well,
welcome.
on that crushed velvet bombshell, that is the end of this week's episode of What Just Happened? Big thanks to Russell Quirk. He did well, didn't he? He may well be back. I'm not sure. I'll think about his future over the next few days. Samara Gill will, of course, be back next week in her crushed velvet outfit. You've been an amazing audience. I've been pretty bloody fantastic too. We're going to be back next week, same time, same place, right here. Don't go anywhere. Bye.